Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on another video. So 5 weeks into 2025 and after a few false starts, I thought it was about time I finally got around to creating a new video. In fact, a couple of weeks ago I did actually upload a new video, but never made it public, mainly because the sound quality was just really poor. So anyway, having negotiated my way through Christmas and the New Year, I entered January with an enhanced positive attitude, really determined to keep forging forward with the rebuilding of my life after the events of the last couple of years. When I use the words determined and forging, it kind of makes it sound like I'm not content with where I am currently in my life. Far from it, in fact. I would have to say that as such I'm in a really good place at the moment, so really I'm just wanting to build on my growth over the last year. Reflecting back on the previous year, as most of us do, I was shocked to realise I completed only 12 pieces of artwork. I'll admit 2024 was riddled with distractions, what with my dad passing away in very early January, focusing on my own mental and physical health, and also working on my camper van to get her roadworthy. In an ideal world, none of these things would have impacted on my work output, but we don't live in an ideal world, do we? So with that in mind, I decided that I really needed to set myself some goals going forward. With no rhyme or reason, I plucked the number 100 out of thin air. So my task this year is to complete 100 paintings. Why 100, you might ask, and the answer I can give is, I absolutely have no idea, it just seemed like a nice round figure. And whether or not I manage to achieve anything like that number, you'll just have to keep watching. The good news is so far I've already finished 9 pieces, so I've nearly smashed last year's total already. As for my YouTube channel, I really hope to continue making content. Something I really enjoy, and it's brought me some wonderful connections.
Because the simple act of putting my thoughts into words and sharing them with a like-minded community, even if it feels vulnerable, it has really become a way to reclaim my power. And one thing I've learned throughout this process is that shame really thrives in silence.
You and I are best suited to help the people who are where we used to be.
I talked about niching down on my channel before, like so many do, but it's not something I'm willing to do, as I believe every aspect of my life makes me who I am. From talking about my battles with mental health and my leukemia diagnosis, to my travels in my RV, my artwork and my scooter rides, I hope you will continue to find something on my little channel that you find either informative, engaging, or at least entertaining in some way or another. At the end of last summer, I really seemed to be gaining some momentum on Broadcasting a Bucket Hat. So much so that as I headed towards 850,000 views, I was hoping that as the new year chimed in, I would reach an all-important psychological number of 1 million views, and with all the will in the world, reach my desired subscriber count of 2,000. With hindsight, these were always going to be tough targets to reach, and in fact I missed both of them by a country mile. That said, it hasn't put me off still pushing forward with the channel, albeit in a more relaxed manner about view counts and subscribers. So for this I had to look back and understand why I started creating content about me, my life, and subsequently the journey I am on. I had to appreciate that my content could sometimes be thought-provoking, and for those that know and love me, sometimes difficult to watch. However, I've always had a will to continue to be authentic in everything I do. And I suppose sometimes this is why I can go for weeks without creating any new videos or updates. Much of the time I just feel I have nothing worthwhile to say, or have not produced any work that I deem worthy of sharing with the world. I'm sure most of you watching will understand this, and for the most, our lives are like Groundhog Day. What we did yesterday we'll do again today, tomorrow and the day after. And I have no real interest in boring you with that. As I mentioned earlier, I feel I'm in a good place at the moment, mentally speaking anyway. Regarding my physical health, I had a little bit of negative news a couple of weeks ago regarding the spike in white blood cells. While it is concerning for me and my family, it's not something I am going to dwell on. Whatever future results turn out to be, I should continue to share these with you, mainly in the thought that it could help others on a similar journey, whether that be due to grief and loss, poor physical or mental health, or just dealing with life's battles on a daily basis. So one thing I can share with you is that I've realised and embraced since I started this channel is that perfection is only something we create in our own minds. I've come to accept my so-called failings and realise that they make me who I am. Of course there are things I would like to change, but the truth is, I just wouldn't be me, would I? So for this coming year, by all means do the work on yourself that you feel you need to do. But more importantly, don't be afraid to give yourself a hug or a pat on the back. And just on a final note, I'm making this video on Tuesday the 4th of February. An insignificant day for some, for others, particularly those affected by cancer, it's a very important one. Today is World Cancer Day 2025, and the theme of the campaign is United by Unique. The campaign, running until 2027, is to emphasise the significance of understanding that each person's cancer journey is completely unique. You may remember this is something I've talked about on the channel on many occasions. So to wrap up today's video, I'd like to leave you with this thought. What a wonderful place it would be if certain so-called politicians embraced the uniqueness of every single individual on this planet and loved and supported them as much as they do their own agendas and bank balances.